Hello everybody and welcome to a windy Chuckwalla Valley Raceway in the middle of nowhere, California. That is the Aprilia RS660. Aprilia RS660 at the racetrack, something I've wanted to do pretty much since I first rode the bike a few weeks ago. It's going to be a really popular bike for Moto America Twins Cup racing and pretty much club racing nationwide. Today is the first day I'm going to have a chance to ride that bike on the racetrack. I'm really looking forward to it. That class of bike is one of my favorites to ride at a racetrack. Just enough amount of power, lightweight, nimble, fun, just the total package. So if you need a refresher on that bike, go see my previous video, go read my reviews. Here's a quick rundown of the Aprilia RS660. It's a 660cc parallel twin. It's essentially the front half of the RSV4 engine. So it's compact, it's lightweight. I'm seeing reports out there of about 85 horsepower at the rear wheel. Aprilia says it's about 100 horsepower at the crank. That's pretty stout when you talk about like SV650s and those kind of bikes that are in full race trim. Yeah, you're getting about 85 or so horsepower at the wheel, and that's a fully tricked out bike. That box stock, from the reports I'm seeing, I haven't done it myself, but that box stock to the wheel makes 85, and so that's pretty impressive. It's got the Brembo brakes, Pirelli tires, can't go wrong with that. The potential limiting factor with the RS660 could be the suspension. It's pretty more or less bare bones. Rebound adjustment, preload adjustment, nothing fancy. But who knows? Part of the thing that made the SV650 so much fun to ride in stock form was it was pretty crappy as far as suspension goes, so it really forces you to maximize your technique and your riding skill to make it go quickly. This could be a similar case, or this could be a whole lot better. I expect if this has RSV4 genes in it, DNA, this will be a pretty fun bike. So hop along, I'm gonna go ride this thing and I'll tell you how it is in a minute. So, my first impressions of the RS660. Well, I got lucky. Pirelli and Aprilia hooked us up. They put the bike I was riding on some SC1 slicks. Brand new set of slick tires from Pirelli. Super sticky stuff. Gotta love it. And went out there and was immediately impressed. Like the power, yeah, it's not a lot of power compared to say an RSV4, but it's that sweet spot. It feels so good. And it comes on so linear. It sounds awesome. So that's going to be the immediate thing I noticed was it sounds great. The power is a lot of fun to play with. It's not overwhelming. It's just that Goldilocks zone of power that I personally love. You know, don't get me wrong, I love riding leader bikes and fast 200 horsepower missiles too, but when it comes to just pure enjoyment factor, 85-ish horsepower to the wheel is pretty darn good. The chassis, yep, just as I expected with the RSV4 DNA inside of it. Aprilia knows how to make a good chassis, and the 660 behind me is no different. It turns over with ease. It's pretty darn solid on the side of the tire. It's really impressive what Aprilia has done with this bike in standard trim. I thought the suspension package would be a limiting factor, and honestly, it really wasn't that bad. Now, it's worth considering Chuckwalla recently just made a repaved, and so the pavement is pretty darn smooth and it's really grippy too, and so it's not surprising that the suspension really didn't have to work too hard to absorb any irregularities in the road. It can just focus on keeping the bike planted, and in that case, it was great. I can imagine at a bumpier track, the standard suspension would be a pretty big downfall. You don't have compression damping to play around with, just rebound and preload, and it's sprung kind of soft for road riding. So if you were going to go hardcore racing with it, yeah, suspension would probably be an avenue to tackle pretty early on. But for track day riding and for most of us out there, even me, it felt great at this pace, even on the smooth pavement that Chuckwalla has. The brakes, you know, it's not Stylema calipers and it's not the latest and greatest thing, but the feel and the delivery of the power of the stock brakes on the 660 is excellent. I mean, again, unless you're going for like a Moto America Twins Cup grid when you need every advantage you can get, this is pretty darn good in box stock form. Yeah, I wasn't really left wanting at all. It has plenty of stopping power and it delivers it really progressively. It's pretty impressive. The other thing I was concerned about would be the handlebar position. It's kind of up high compared to a traditional sport bike. And yeah, me personally, I like to rest my outside arm on the gas tank. I couldn't really do that with the bar set up here, but honestly, it wasn't terrible. But if I'm getting nitty-gritty about stuff, yeah, I'd probably find a way to lower that, but not a big deal. The rear sets didn't drag rear sets at all. The pegs never touched the ground. So I didn't, you know, I don't see that being an issue to change unless you want some sort of quick swappable rear set setup in case you crash it and got to replace it for a race. But in stock form, there's no ground clearance issues that I ran into. The overriding message here is it's such a fun package to ride, even in stock form. The power delivery is great. The amount of power is just so much fun to mess around with. It's plenty to keep you happy, but not too much to scare the crap out of you. It's good. It's a really good package. So, if that's what you were concerned about with the RS660 and how it would perform on the racetrack, you have your answer. It's a great track bike. It's a pretty darn comfortable street bike too. That seat is pretty cushy and padded well, and not that I really want to, but I could ride it to the racetrack, go burn a track day, and then ride it back home. It's all day comfortable, and it goes pretty darn good at a racetrack. So I'm a big fan of the RS660 in case you couldn't tell. But yeah, I'll have a full written report of how this bike is to ride at a racetrack at Motorcycle.com. So be sure to go there, read my written track review of the Aprilia RS660, and yeah, I dig it. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this, click subscribe, click all the good buttons down there you see below, and see ya.